Good afternoon, Sooner Nation. Welcome to the Sooner Surge for a little pregame softball live as OU takes on Texas A&M Commerce tonight. They're at John Cain Family Stadium. A road game in the fall. The weather's I think around 67 degrees there today. It's going to be a beautiful night for softball. They'll play 10 innings, and I don't know. We felt like we'd come on here and have a little pregame live. Talk about the softball team. Of course, the big news yesterday, Jackson and Jay, is they get another commitment in the 2026 class, Ella Kate Smith, third pitcher of the class. Patty Gasso continuing to shine on the recruiting trail. But this team, they've had two fall battle series. There's been a lot to talk about. Thought we'd get on here and spend about 20 minutes talking about not really this game. I mean, we can talk about maybe a projected lineup that you guys think, but more or less talk about this team in general, what team 2025 is going to look like.
Yeah, Jeremy, as you said, it's an exciting night. The first time we get to see this team in action against someone else that's not themselves. What's up, Fang? Over under 10 stolen bases tonight in the 10.
I'm going under.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'll take the under as well.
One thing that was interesting, though, I saw Patty Gasso talking about Emmerling at catcher. They really tried to run on Emmerling a lot last week in the fall battle series to test her. I think Patty Gasso would love for A&M Commerce to test Emmerling. She wants to get as much work as she can for Emmerling behind the plate with her release. I'm not sure how aggressive OU will be. Colin says OU will go over the 10 stolen bases. They do have speed. I know a lot of people are talking about small ball, but I'm still here for the power as well. But, man, a lot of interesting things to talk about. Are there – and Jay, I don't know if Jay's on here or not camera-wise, or if he's on here, we'll get to him in a second. But I think Nellie Mack has kind of solidified the third base position.
Yeah.
Outfield – obviously, you got Pickering. And, look, Ella Parker can play multiple positions. I think there's some interesting things to kind of look at from this team. Actually think under 5 home runs. Okay, so did Fang say over and 10 stolen bases, under and 5 dingers? Yeah, 10 innings, that's 2 dingers an inning. I mean, sorry, that's half a dinger an inning, I guess you could say. I don't know.
Yeah,
under on home runs. I think they go over 5 homers tonight.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma, they're going to score, I think, more than 15 runs as a team tonight. I mean, I think they're going to have a ton of success. The power is going to be there, and there's Jay. Super, as I said, just they're finally not playing against themselves. It's almost, I know in a sense, it's kind of like after getting through maybe that spring football phase where you're not going against yourself, where you finally get to go against someone else.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing?
What's up? Good.
See Stubby on here. Stubby, how you doing? Yeah, football. Hey, we'll talk about that at 9:30 as we usually do, but it's not fun right now, football. But softball, one thing I'm looking forward to seeing, and I don't know how the response is going to be, but so far, I don't think, and I know it's different because they've only played each other, right? But Kirsten Deal, uh, I mean, I think a lot of people want her to step up and take kind of that next step. It's kind of been hard to say that she's ready for that based off the battle series, but I think it's also different because look at the caliber of hitters you're going against. But I'm ready for her to go out there and have some like shutout performances to really kind of propel her into this season. I mean, as
Hey,
far as innings, like she pitched a few innings, just get shut them down and and really show that she's ready for that next step. Because I think who the ace is going to be, we don't know yet. There will be one by the end of the year. It always happens. No, you can, what I
by
mean,
the
though,
end of the
Jeremy. Like
year, yes. By the
by the
end,
end of the year, there will be. I think.
hey, Fang says, OU won last year against A&M Commerce at Love's-Field 9-0 in 5. Maybe they get to 20. Hey, I'm really curious, guys, and I would love to hear Fang. I know Fang is a very knowledgeable softball follower of the OU program. There are 2 players. I'm just wondering, Jay, where they're going to fit in. And Jackson, you know who they are?
Who's that?
Hannah Core.
Well, injuries.
And,
Just have to wait
the
and
other
see.
one, Maya Bland.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's fair. I mean,
To me, Nelly Mack, Ogbayana. You've got. I'm just going over the infield.
are you thinking those are set in stone, shortstop, third?
Well, Ogbayana can play multiple infield
I,
positions.
yeah,
I
I
do.
know.
If I had to bet money right now, and I'll tell you the one that's surprising a lot of people is Gabby Garcia. I, like, and then outfield, Abby Dayton, Pickering. Who else?
Mhm.
Parker can play outfield or infield. Sydney Sanders is solidified at first base. Fang's got outfield as Pickering and left, and Pickering go left or right. I don't like Pickering at center myself.
No,
Pickering and left, Dayton at center, Malloy and right, and I think Malloy can
Hey,
go left or right.
well, in the Malloy situation, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't think Patty will be able to keep her off the field. So that's probably the spot for her. I would agree with Fang. She's too talented. She's too good of a hitter. Too good of an all-around player. I think Malloy will be out there. Fang thinks Garcia will start at shortstop for OU this season.
I
We'll
think
see.
Garcia
And
could go to second too, though, guys.
who's the highest freshman you guys as far as that you think is going to have? I mean, you talk about last year, Ella Parker and Cassie Pickering had massive years. Who's the one? And people in the chat, who's the one? Maybe one or two that you're saying will be the ones this year that and I don't want to compare the numbers to Ella Parker and Cassie Pickering, but that make big impacts in year one.
I'll go with Tia Malloy. I think I've been super high on her a while ago on the Sooner Surge. When was that? Last year, guys, we had the opportunity to interview her, just hear her talk, her love
Mhm.
for the game. Her sister is one of the best players in all of college softball, or was at Tennessee. And so it kind of runs in her blood, and I think we're going to see her make some plays for Oklahoma in games this year when she's needed most. And something that Twitch said, too, was about this team being so young. Now, I know this team is going to constantly be compared to the previous year's teams. It's going to happen. Oklahoma fans and softball fans, they expect national championships. But as Oklahoma fans, we need to take a step back and be like, hey, what we've seen over the last 4 years, we don't need to take it for granted. It's been generational. You don't see that in sports at all for one senior class to be so dominant for 4 straight years. And now I think obviously it's right for the team to have high expectations because it's the University of Oklahoma and the standard's the standard. But maybe to not try and compare them to these previous 4 teams just because of the players that were on those teams like Kinsey Hansen, Tiari Jennings, Jada Coleman, Alyssa Brito, and you can go on and on about just great players.
Well, they absolutely need to have the high expectations. And Patty Gasso said last week she's coaching more than she ever has this year. And that's great to see. She didn't have to with who they had, but I'm all for seeing Gasso coach these ladies up. I like what Fang said here. I 100% agree. Garcia's been maybe the most impressive, but the one we need to have the biggest impact is Audrey Lowry. Audrey Lowry has shown flashes and signs of being really good already. Can she be that true freshman to come in and have immediate impact on the mound? I thought it was interesting that Ella Parker pitched. I wasn't really expecting that much. She liked it. She was glad to get back in the circle. What about Sydney Barker at all?
I mean, we'll see. I think it's a wait and see. I mean, that and Cheney Hilton as well. We'll see. I mean, I do think that whoever plays well in this battle series and these games in the fall ball, it's going to kind of tell you a lot about next season because go back and look last year, the ones that played really well, other than Hannah Core, who was injured, they kind of continued it throughout the season, a lot of them, right? Colin, I want to say something about Colin's comment that he said the margin of error will be thinner unless we have several players be very pleasant surprise of the All-American variety in 2025. And the margin of error is for sure thinner but at the same time, I would say that it's almost like sometimes when you get the players that haven't been through it, maybe sometimes you get a little bit more. I don't want to say free, not free willing, but you kind of get they don't know what they don't know, and sometimes that can be uh so surprising itself, and they play better in that situation. Now I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the pressure that last year's team had on it will not be on this year's team.
No, but it
I mean,
is.
there's pressure to continue to win. That's for
You
sure. I'm
can't be the
saying, but
team that loses it first. That's a lot of
no,
pressure.
but what I'm saying is the ones that were seniors that never lost, those specifically, the pressure they had on.
I get that. And how massive, guys, massive. Go back to last year. The amount of run, the amount of game, I mean, it was every game. Parker and Pickering. The fact that they play nearly every game, I mean, they're sophomores who are going to really have to take on senior roles. And that's such a huge thing that they played so much last year.
Hey, I have a question for y'all and for the chat. How many pitchers, like pitchers as far as they get a good amount of innings, does this team have on it? Last year before the season, we were saying 6, and it didn't ever get there, and it never got to 6 pitchers consistently getting innings. How many on the ones on the staff right now are you saying they're going to get a good amount of innings?
Just go
And
through
who
it.
are they?
Well, Landry obviously is, right, guys? I'll say a name. You say if they will. Landry?
Yes.
Yes.
Deal.
Yes.
Yes.
Monticelli?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely Peyton Monticelli.
It's a
We'll
wait
see.
and see with her,
I think
Jeremy.
it's how they use her. It's how they use
It's not
her.
a wait and see with her.
I think it's how they use her, Jeremy. If they use her in relief, I don't know.
Audrey Lowry? Yes.
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 Smith?
Yes.
Okay, there's 5 right there. Who we missing? Jay. Jay's off the screen. We're missing Jay. But who else we missing? I left one out. Well, Ogbayani can pitch. Ella Parker can pitch. I absolutely don't think they're going to use them in key situations. But Peyton Monticelli, I guess I'm higher on Peyton Monticelli than a lot of people are. I think that the velocity she brings, the energy she brings, I think she'll be valuable this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think something too that kind of was maybe big for Monticelli, was it whenever she was called upon? Was it in
Bases juiced, ducks on the
bases
pond,
juiced, and she got OU through it. And I don't know if that's like a point maybe propelling her into this season, but if you're Peyton Monticelli, that's got to be a huge confidence boost because the opportunity she got, she took advantage of it, Germ.
Absolutely. I feel good about the rotation. Does Fang? We'll see what Fang says, but those 5, I just don't think they're going to use Ogbayani and Ella Parker in the circle much.
Yeah. And,
hey, someone mentioned Hicks earlier, guys. What are your thoughts on Corey Hicks?
Well, I'm kind of torn between how much she plays. I would love her to play some good amount this year.
What about Zaki?
Isn't she fighting a little bit of an injury?
Yeah, I've heard that, Jay.
Yeah.
What about Zaki?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know,
think
man.
it's maybe more likely you could see her be a red shirt.
Hey, great question here. Does Sydney Sanders take the next step in development? She felt like an auto at the plate last post. Look, and she's had pretty good start. If she doesn't, there's concern. I mean,
let me tell
guys,
you,
she's got to be the lead. She's got to be a leader. She's really good defensively. She can be the power bat with Parks, Pickering, and Sanders. Those 3 can kind of head the power attack because Dayton, Ogbayani, Garcia, Nellie Mack. Now, Nellie Mack's got some pop. There's a lot of ladies who's going to be getting on base. Who's going to be driving them in?
And, I think this is something that we talked about last year during the postseason with Sydney Sanders. She was able to make clutch plays for Oklahoma when it was needed. Now it's time for her to stop just being good in clutch time. Yes, keep that up, but show the consistency. She's that senior. She has a ton of experience. She's played a ton of ball. She needs to step up and maybe deliver hits more consistently and continue to be great in the field like she was last year as well.
Hey, let me ask y'all this, and no really discredit to her, but what shows you after the amount of time she's been at Oklahoma that she's going to be consistent? Like, what's going to change this year? I mean, have you seen consistency in the first 3 years?
No, she
Or
hasn't
2
been.
years, whatever it's been.
Yeah,
she hasn't been. But you got to hope that maybe something happens where
she's been clutch in certain. Hey, appreciate it, Stubby. Thanks for joining. Hope to talk to you tonight. By the way, for the ones that aren't here, we do 9:30 every night as well with call-ins now. So we do have call-ins.
We maybe could take some call-ins here today, Jay.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
The last 10 minutes. If anyone would be interested in calling in, give us a thumbs up, and we'll switch to that maybe the last 10 minutes of this live. She'll get walked a third of her at bats, is what Breaking Nell TV says.
Maybe. Yeah. But
Maya Bland, guys. Maya Bland. We saw her only pretty much in pinch running roles last year. I don't know where she fits here.
Does she have a good enough bat?
Yeah. I agree.
That's probably the question, Jay. So, hey, what are your lineups tonight, guys? Who's the starting pitcher tonight? You think it's Landry or Deal?
I'm going to go with Deal.
James Christopher says would like to call in, maybe.
I think it's Deal. I'd like to see a lot out of Audrey Lowry, to be honest. I'd like to see a lot of I'd like to see her get in there and pitch quite a bit. And Mark is asking about Deal. Why does Deal not look like she is the ace thus far? A few things. I agree with Fang too about this. Get her some confidence, but it is totally different when you're not the ace to try to be the ace. It's a different feel. It's different. Kirsten Deal has never been like the go-to in her 2 years at Oklahoma. It's a different animal to say you are the ace to go shut teams down when they need it. So it's kind of I almost think it's a mentality. More, I mean, all these pitchers have talent. I mean, Kirsten Deal's highly talented pitcher. I think a lot of it's a mentality.
Yeah. And there's also
it could be 2-5 inning. We haven't. The format I saw was 10 inning game, but how they break it up, I'm not sure. Go ahead, Jackson.
Well, I was going to say maybe too, Kirsten Deal, she necessarily hasn't gotten enough opportunities to prove herself as well, because last year we expected her to play one. Obviously, we don't know what she's doing in practice.
She's had chances
today. Yeah, she has had chances, but Kelly Maxwell last year turned into the best arm debatably in all of softball. So, and then the year before you had Jordy Ball, who's one of the best players in softball in general, if not the best. So maybe, is this the year for Kirsten Deal? Is this the year for Sam Landry where she's going to be the ace? I think that's something that'll be very telling the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Teresa says she thinks Sam Landry starts. She needs her out pitch. Break It Now TV's talking about Kirsten Deal. I think James Christopher put in their thumbs up. I don't know if that was for call-ins. I mean, we could do call-ins here the last 10 minutes if you like, guys. Just let me know. I can try to get that set up.
From the 20 to 30-minute mark, we'll take call-ins. Again, when you call in, there'll be a link here. Just call in. Jay will invite you in on there, and then give us your thoughts the last 10 minutes. But, hey, tonight, I think the outfield's going to be Dayton, Pickering, and Malloy. I think the infield's going to be Nellie Mack, Agbayani, Garcia, Sanders. I think Parker's your extra hitter. Emmerling behind the plate is who I got, and I think Kirsten Deal starting in the circle today. That's what I think. Jay's going to be dropping in the link to join in if you want to call, so look for the link. It is okay for the pitchers to get hit in the fall. Maxwell, and that's absolutely true. And Jen Rocha, I read a quote last week, Jen Rocha was kind of all over the pitchers after the first two battle series, and rightfully so, but that's what you're supposed to be doing. It's called coaching. Fang says Rocha got Maxwell that off-speed drop that just killed UCLA and Texas in the Women's College World Series. That's right. I think you also said earlier, Fang, that you want Kirsten Deal to be working on some of those other pitches. So, yeah.
Germ, and I think something that's super crucial, too, is in these fall series games is for these pitchers to face some adversity, to kind of see how they're going to respond, because, yes, Sam Landry, she's played softball, but she hasn't played at the caliber of a place like the University of Oklahoma. How's she going to respond in the mound? How's Kirsten Deal going to respond to a lot of adversity? Because, yes, we've seen her some, but she hasn't pitched a ton.
That's right.
That'll be something that'll be very telling.
There's the link. We may have a caller right now. So, who we got here?
James Christopher from St. Louis, Missouri. Never been to Norman. I'm a diehard Sooners fan, and don't ask me why.
What's up, James?
Why am I so freaking nervous about this year after losing so many people last year?
Well, I mean, I guess I would say, and first off, thanks for calling, James. The nervousness, here's why I'm going to say I'm a little less nervous. maybe than you are. One is Gasso seems to have like another fire inside her where she's, all in on. She hasn't really had to coach as much as she is this year, I'm sure. They are very, very highly touted in recruiting, but the nervousness
Right, which I get.
because the SEC is going to be it's going to be an absolute battle.
Dogfight. Right, dogfight. But the thing is, we don't have Jennings. We don't have the 1-2 punch like we've always had.
No, yeah.
Correct.
And that also comes down to, James, is other players. This is their opportunity now to step up and make these plays because, as you guys have said, this is a super young team. So players,
Right,
fall series, they got to step up and make plays because the more experience you can get them, the more adversity they have to face early is going to help a ton. And just what you're
I
going to
mean,
see.
just not having Kenzie behind the plate, just not having that one power. You don't have that 1-2 punch pitcher catcher or that 1-2 bat where Alo comes in and just we don't have to worry about it. Alo's going to come in and put it over the damn fence. You just don't have that this year.
I agree. I think that's the concern is clutch moments, big moments. But I do think Parker and Pickering last year had some clutch hits, so they're a little more seasoned than any other sophomore is.
Right. So that was just my concern. I just wanted to bring it up. I mean,
hey, thanks for calling, James. Appreciate it.
No, not a problem. Thank you.
See you. Yeah, I think the feeling of being nervous is justified because James said the 1-2 punch. It was really like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punch with the seniors they had last year.
Yeah.
Fang says that his opinion, catcher's one of the weak positions.
Well, and something off that thing is that most teams in the country would probably love to have Emmerling as their catcher right now. So
I don't know about most, Jackson.
Really? You don't think so?
I'm not going to say most. Are there some teams?
Okay, there's some that we could say there's some that would.
Hey, here's the fact. Everyone wanted Kenzie Hansen as their catcher.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants Reese Atwood as their catcher.
Yeah.
Some may want Emmerling. That's the issue. And I think what Fang says is Zakiya is too raw. And we haven't seen Hicks at all. Yeah. It is nice knowing that knowing that Hansen and Jennings are in the dugout. That's nice. And they're in these ladies' ear. So I would say for all the contenders, we are weak at catcher. Okay, I get that. Yeah. That link, appreciate James calling in. Here's the link. We're going to be on here about 10 more minutes if you want to join in and call and give us a thought about this 2025 OU Sooner softball team playing tonight at A&M Commerce, 6 o'clock, first pitch, ESPN Plus. Should be great weather, going 10 innings tonight there in Texas. Maurice says, actually encouraged. These ladies can hit. More concerned about. Now, here's the thing, Maurice. People want to talk about the sticks, but man, they lost unbelievable fielding last year. You look at it, Jackson. Jada Coleman, best at her position. Riley Boone was great out in outfield. Tiare Jennings was a great infielder, better at second than short, but she played a good short. Alyssa Brito was really good at third. Kenzie Hansen was the best behind the plate. And then across the board, man.
And I think something that wasn't talked about enough last year was how good of a job Jennings did taking the spot of Grace Lyons, because Grace Lyons, I had never seen a better defensive player in my life, maybe outside of Jada Coleman at any spot on the field in all the softball games I've watched. So for Jennings last year to step over there at short, make some awesome plays throughout the year, be consistent, not get too ahead of herself the majority of the time. I think that shouldn't be taken for granted. And also this year's team, they're super young. Early in the year, there might be some defensive miscues, and it's going to happen because no team is perfect.
And I do think the improvement that we will see through the year, Jackson, there could be some stuff early, and Sooner fans need to be patient, I think, with some of that because, Gasso and company, Gasso, Rocha, JT, they're going to be on top of it. They're going to always get them to improve. Break It Nail says middle infield more of a concern. I don't know. I think Ogbayani is very good. Garcia's young, though. That's a fact.
Well, and I would say that maybe is a fair point just because Emmerling has played a lot of softball.
Yeah.
So she has that experience factor.
Emmerling's bad against top pitchers. Yeah. It sounds like you're not as worried about Emmerling's fielding as you are her bat.
Yeah, and I think something too is that over these last 4 to 5 years, we've just seen so much consistency the majority of the time. From 1 to 9 for Oklahoma, just so many players find ways to get on base. In this year's team, I hope there's not going to be a weak link part of the order, but at the beginning of the year with just how young they are, players might get off to slow starts, so it might happen at a point this year, but we just need to wait and be patient with them.
Tyler, softball has always started this early. You do have to understand, though, this is fall ball. This is not regular season. This is
kind of like the preseason, you could say.
It's preseason. It's fall ball before they go into winter break and then start their end of February, March. What softball game am I looking forward to in the new SEC schedule? Man, there's a lot. I think some of the SEC, OU Florida, obviously, and Colin says that it's going to be. You got Erickson. It's going to be a very, very Tennessee.
Florida also has Keegan Rothrock as well.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, Bama as well. Home series against Texas and Tennessee. Yeah, those four are the ones that I think would stand out for all Sooner fans. But Missouri, I've heard has good environment. I think there's several environments in the SEC that are good. The OU is going to be new in.
Germ, we might need to try and go to an away game for OU softball this year. Go experience one of the road SEC environments.
For sure. OU's last two series. Yeah, look, they definitely backloaded that schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Backloaded a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, though, you got A&M Commerce. And I think, Jackson, give me a couple things you're looking forward to seeing tonight.
The first thing is who starts off the game on the mound. Is it Sam Landry or is it Kirsten Deal? I think that's something to watch for. I don't know how much of a telltale sign that'll be for the rest of the season, kind of maybe who's – in a sense ahead there, but I think that'll be something to watch. And also how long the starter that starts the game stays in the game and if they're able to control the game. And the second thing I'm watching for, Germ, I'm going to go with how many home runs does Oklahoma hit as a team tonight? Because as we've talked about on the live, the offense, is the consistency going to be there? Maybe outside of Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering, who's going to step up, make those offensive plays? I think that's something I'm going to watch for tonight.
Fang says wants to see Smith pitch and Hicks at least swing a bat. I do want to see Hicks swing the bat. I want to see what she can do. I want to see part of me still wants to see some of Maya Bland and see what she can do. I am really super stoked about Nellie Mack. She has played really well early. Can she keep that up? I mean, she's kind of been on a tear. I do think that, and Fang mentioned this earlier, and Jackson, curious on your thoughts on this real quick. Sometimes when you have elite hitters and your offense is just out of this world, you don't take risks.
Yeah.
I think the fact that maybe this team is new, that they're not sure what they have at the plate, I think they are going to be more aggressive on the base paths. I think you're going to see more hit and runs, things like that. And sometimes that ends up being better for you because you don't really know what you got at the bat. So you just really go out there, take risks, make it havoc, create havoc on the base paths for the opposing team. I think we're going to see some of that this year, more so than last.
I agree, Germ. It's a young team. These first few weeks, you let them go out there and you let them just play ball. You let them have fun on the field, get some experience, get to know each other as a team, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and be prepared to chase a fifth straight national championship, in which this is a team. I know we talked about it. Maybe I think Jay said maybe the pressure necessarily isn't on them, but also there's a ton of pressure to keep up what's been going on at Oklahoma because it's the expectation, Jeremy, is a national championship. And if you fall short, then it's a letdown of a season to the majority of fans.
And I agree. Nelly has third base on lockdown mode. Hey, really quickly, just a reminder, it's 6 p.m. tonight. It's on ESPN Plus. We'll have a video that goes, later tonight, kind of recapping it. But as we get closer to softball season, this is your one-stop shop here. We'll have live call-ins. Our softball content will ramp up significantly. There's no other place to go to. We will cover it all. And we've been doing this for about a year and a half, covering the softball program each and every night. So we'll be doing that as well, along with our usual 9:30 Sooner Surge live show. So, hey, thanks everyone for being on here today. Appreciate James calling in. Yep, hit that Boomer Sooner thing. And we'll see everyone later. Talk to you later. Enjoy the game.